Hey y'all. It has been a month. I know. I'm sorry. I need to do better. And I think because I'm trying to perfectify, that's blowing it out of the water. It's just making it to where I get this feeling of like executive freeze and then I end up not doing it at all. So I have to kind of lower the bar a little bit because I think for me, I'm all about the knowledge is power, ignorance is a choice. But the on-screen captions, the research, all of that ends up becoming so time-consuming that I just drain the prefrontal cortex battery, and then I don't have the patience to put up the video on YouTube because I don't know what I'm doing, y'all. I'm learning, okay? I'm learning. I'm not a pro. I don't have a team. It's just me by myself and my full caseload. And then I'm also trying to grow and build the nervous system playground. That's going to be an asynchronous learning platform. And then have like meet workshops and stuff like that. I'm trying to build all of that for us so we have some learning containers, and I'm really excited about that. It has been very busy. I'm actually back in California right now, which is so nice. I miss home. This is my home. But we're in El Paso for right now. But let's just jump into this video real quick because for one, I don't read my messages a lot because they stress me out. There's just so many and I have an all or nothing part of my brain. And so I can't be sitting there all day trying to read to people and then being an on-demand therapist for people. I have to limit. I can't. So I just want to be regular. I'm tired of everything having to be so scripted and perfect, and I have to look at the camera and have a script or an outline and follow it. I know my brain needs it sometimes just so that way I can stay on topic, but I think I want to reduce one barrier to making me post more, removing that barrier so that way I can get more videos out. Because if I can just film straight through and not have to make edits, that sounds like something fun for me. Now, I do have my notes nearby just so I can understand the topic of what it is that I want to discuss for today. And then let me adjust this thing. I'm learning how to do this, guys. It's so fun, but it's so frustrating at the same time, especially like the back end part. And I'm stubborn. I need to learn this first before I ever outsource it and start paying someone to help me. But for right now, this is supposed to be just a hobby for me and I really enjoy it. I do plan on opening up mentorships. I've had a lot of people ask me for that. I also am creating the season's 6-week, I don't know what I'm going to call it yet, like intensive for interns and training people in college that are hoping to learn, who are becoming therapists. That's basically what that's for. There's a lot happening that I'm building in the background. And quite frankly, it's not draining me, it's draining the brain. And then the mind-body connection, I end up having to rest. And if you're like any of us these days, we feel guilty for rest. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I just wanted to give y'all a little bit of an update. So for this topic though, let them pass. This came from somebody in my DM, and they were telling me about my communal narcissistic series that's on Instagram and TikTok about growing up in certain cultures. This particular person was from a Muslim background and dealt with a lot of narcissistic, communal narcissism. I think a lot of us have, if I'm going to be completely honest. A lot of the culturals, doesn't matter, Black culture, Hispanic culture, Asian culture, Indian culture, a lot of them come from the same communal narcissistic wounds in the elders and the parents. Now, this particular person that wrote in, which please, by the way, okay, now what, is an advice column that I would love for y'all to write in, whatever you're carrying. That's my way to give access to people. It's on my Substack. Now, the finding balance is such a great question, a fantastic question, because it's the yin and yang to life, right? We cannot explore this question with the extremist mob everywhere. And these extremist mobs, they silence you because their nervous systems are uncomfortable with the dialogue and the context. As if it doesn't name my pain with the what about me ism, then you are a victim blamer, you are a villain, and this whole entire crap that's happening in society right now is cluster B traits. This is splitting, polarity. This is borderline personality traits. And we're so focused on the narcissists that we're not seeing how we're developing Pavlovian conditioning. The society, political arenas are Pavlovianing y'all with the bell, except there's no bell, it's the algorithm. And it's the political sides. It's creating the polarity that lives in borderline personality. And the level of reactivity, the level of righteousness, it's becoming an infestation of an infection in people. And so we can't explore balance because that requires nuance. That is very uncomfortable for a lot of us who've been in polarity mindset for a very long time, at least 2+ years of constantly being in that. The algorithm wakes you up, it love bombs you, and then it shows you a puppy, and then it shows you someone that you don't like on the internet. And then bam, 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 bam. And then your baseline keeps moving, right? Eventually your baseline shoots up. And that's where you end up staying, your baseline for functioning. So for a lot of us, when we reflect on communal narcissism in our family systems, right? How do you balance a lot of this? Now, usually this is when the people say, oh, so you're saying stay in abuse? That's not what anyone said. Where are you hearing that? A lot of these people who are screaming like that, that is tantrum behavior to me. That is child behavior to me. You see it in the comments in any videos. The what about me, Vecna behavior. Maturity does not live in that frequency. That's fear or shame. When you think about what you specifically go through in your family system, everybody's family system is different. So what you experience in communal narcissistic traits, tendencies, XYZ is not going to be what the next person experiences. So this is why the what about me toxin happens all the time, and why my work is rooted in perception. Because what you perceive as XYZ and what I perceive as XYZ, those are going to be two different things. Can I go on a tangent real quick? I'm going to go on a tangent. I told myself I was not going to Costco style everything, but it's so hard because my brain's like, and I feel like this is a perfect time to introduce this. I am going to write a paper or an essay on this, and it's going to be called the deluxe burger or the deluxe cheeseburger. And the reason why I'm calling it this is because there's this viral video going around right now of a little boy who's so upset that he didn't get a hamburger when his parents brought him this shitty McDonald's burger. He's pissed. This isn't a burger. And he's like 5 or 6. I don't know how old he is. He doesn't have the language to convey anything. All he knows is there's some incongruence happening here. You gave me this and you're calling it a burger. This is a bread, a patty, and a pickle. Where's the tomato? Where's the lettuce? This isn't a burger. The parents are like, what are you talking about? This is a burger. This is a burger. If these were adults, everyone would say that man gaslighted the child. But what's really happening here is, let me find the word. Hold on. I don't want my brain to fart. I want to say object permanence, but I don't necessarily think that's the case here. Who introduced a burger to this kid? And where did you go for the first very burger that he had? Because if this is his first burger and he's having the deluxe Krabby Patty of his life for the very first time, And now it's a Tuesday on a very stressful, already chaotic work week. And we've got 3 of these kids and they want that deluxe Krabby Patty, but we don't have the energy for that, or we don't have the money. That was a luxury. So now we're going to go get them a burger from McDonald's. What is that? It's a burger. This is not a burger. Do you know how many kids would get an ass whooping for that kid's tantrum? I don't agree with the way that he was tantruming. I don't agree with how he showed up, but he's a child. Some of y'all are dating these and you keep making excuses for them. So back to the kid, okay? He is a child trying to communicate an incongruence that came from the adults. There was a scene, I'm gonna see if I can clip it in this, where his level of frustration, I believe we've all been there. Because what we're trying to say is being missed by someone misperceiving us because their filtration system has adopted, this is a burger. There were multiple things happening in that video where not only is this kid pissed because this is not a burger, he's also highlighting how we pay money for things that are not what they are. But this child does not understand the complexities of, if you want a $20 burger, you're going to get the deluxe. If you want a cheaper dollar menu burger, this is what you get. He doesn't understand that yet. He just knows the word burger. And he knows that it looks like this, Krabby Patty. If this is what he was introduced, and then you give him something else, but there's no communication in between except this is a burger, this is how we create gridlock. Because what he was saying, the child, there's no tomato, there's no lettuce. You want the deluxe. Sorry, buddy, no deluxe, okay? We don't have deluxe money every day. Deluxes is only for the special times, or deluxes are only for when we go to this place. Then we communicate, how come this burger is different here versus over there where I had the deluxe version? Do I have to communicate something when I go order a burger and make sure that it's the deluxe so that way I don't get this shit next time? What do I have to do? And that's where we learn communication skills. And so when going back to what this person told me, what is the balance here? And there is a balance. And so this particular person said that in Arabic, I don't want to butcher this, okay? So let me pause real quick. Okay, actually, I think I have it. So actually, I did type it. Okay. So this particular person said, what are my thoughts on a balancing act when you think about acceptance and being nonchalant towards communal narcissistic people in your family, right? In their culture, in Arabic, they say, what do they say? Allow someone to pass. I think that's beautiful. I would love to hear how it sounds in Arabic. Allow someone to pass is such a beautiful gift, but that doesn't mean you allow mistreatment. So let's unpack that, okay? This might be a long video, so go get you a tea, a water, something, and then maybe a little snacky and a blinky. To let someone pass does not mean to allow disrespect. And here's the difference. I cannot change you. I cannot change you. I can incorporate radical acceptance for who you are. And that allows you to pass. Why? Because the resistance, there is no passing, there is no allowing to pass when there's resistance. And that resistance usually comes for, you shouldn't do that. You should be this. You are a narcissist. You are this. You are all of XYZ, you, right? Assertiveness communication, boundary communication, effective communication can look like, hey, don't talk to me that way. I'm not okay with it. And then you might live in a family that's like, oh, you're so sensitive. You're so meh. They all might make a scene. That scene is the very thing the amygdala in you has been telling you you are afraid of, which is why you shrink and allow the disrespect, which is why there's no passing happening, not even for you, because that's where the gridlock comes in. I'm not actually being dramatic. I just don't tolerate disrespect. And then you walk out of the room. Let them talk about you. Let them run their mouth. Let them. Whatever it is they're going to do, we already know. You've probably been enduring it, okay? A lot of what we are afraid of in the response of our boundary is what you've already been enduring. What's happening is your sticky little brain thinks that by implementing the new behavior, the boundary, right? The letting them pass, the radical acceptance, and then the boundary that's for you. This is the behavior that we're implementing. Over time, this behavior is going to shift the paradigm of the system over time. With that mindset, that limiting belief, I heard you, it will not happen. Okay? So I just want to remind you, and it always gets worse before it gets better, because the heat rises to pecking order you back into the old role, not using these skills. And so remind yourself, the skills are for you. Speaking up, expressing yourself is for you, not for, well, what are they going to say? Oh, but their behavior didn't change. Yeah, it's not supposed to. You are supposed to change, my love. Your brain, that spongy, sticky thing in there is supposed to adapt and level up. What we got wrong was thinking that we were going to change them. My boundary is going to change you, hold you accountable. We're not the hall monitors to life. And I think the polarity Olympics out here that's being conditioned in society is making you believe that just because all the Karens of all these injustice factories are out here policing everybody else, that now we can do that. Policing people is an adaptation. Correcting someone is something that you do so you can feel superior, safe, whatever it is, right? If I'm with somebody that I know is a great person, if I'm hanging out with you outside of my home, you're probably a good enough person for me to hang out with, because I'm very selective. But if you say something that I was like, oh my gosh, how politically incorrect. We've conditioned people to tell someone like me that you're wrong for not checking that. You're wrong for not correcting that. I've had people, even clients, tell me, well, I'm helping you for your business. I don't need help. You're actually trying to correct me because there's something inside of you that came up in this moment, and focusing on correcting anyone frees you from that discomfort. All right? Because again, you cannot make someone politically correct. You can't. I don't care. There's so much injustice in this world. There's so much ugly and darkness in this world. You will become it if you keep trying to police it. And I think that's what's happening right now. That's why so many people are stuck in the upside down. And then they're out here with their freaking lingo and their rhetorics, because that frees them from self-reflection. And that in its whole entire self is narcissism. Because if you don't even think that you need to reflect, that's why for those of us who are so afraid of being the narcissist, just know most narcissists are not thinking they're the narcissists. Okay? They're too busy pointing at everybody else. But we live in a very narcissistic society. We won't allow them to pass. And so me hanging out with someone that I know says something, and quite frankly, I can't control what these people say. But I know deep down that their heart is good. And I have to really understand that, because could you imagine being at a barbecue and then somebody is correcting everything you say? Because my brain is now reflecting, well, who are you to correct me? How do I know you're the right one? Do you see, now it becomes that polarity again. I'm right, you're wrong. and I'm helping you. And that extra layer of I'm helping you is that protection of morally superior. I am morally in the right to correct you. Okay. How do you navigate being around people like that? How do you navigate being around people who minimize your feelings, your boundaries? They tell you, you're just being dramatic. They flip, they do the Uno reverse. Then when you're out at breakfast, brunch, or you're hanging out with whoever at whatever, and then it's all this communal display, right? How do you deal with the incongruence? I think this like stand on business, call it out mentality makes you end up looking like the problem. And when I work with clients who are extremely reactive, probably because of reactive abuse, right? Like you are provoked on purpose so that your reaction can be what we use to justify our harming you and our deflection of that, right? But nobody talks about, if we all have grown up in narcissistic environments that have caused us harm, why are we avoiding the discussion of the narcissistic adaptations that we learned to survive this harm? Let's unpack that in the next video.